Great Escape. I'm author CJ Peterson, and my co-host over on this side is author Michael Scott Clifton. Today we have some very special guests, Rob and Joan Carter. We'll get to them in just a few minutes. Until then, Mike, how are you, and how was your weekend?
Well, I've been working in the yard. I've got several passions. Of course, my family's top of the list. But I enjoy working in the garden. I like growing flowers and vegetables. Of course, writing, reading. And so I've been working out in the yard for the last week or so and, planting flowers. I've got a big pea patch I planted just the other day. And last year it was kind of a disaster. We were talking earlier about weather. Well, last year it was hot and dry, and the pea patch kind of burned up. But, I am a proud pea picker, so enjoy doing that. I do have a book event coming up. Hello. Got a book event coming up next week. Next Saturday will be at the Winsboro Book Festival. I did that several years ago, so I'm going to go back and do it this year. And then I reached, for milestone for me anyway, my latest book, which is going to be finished sometime in July. I think I've got past the halfway mark on it. It's going to be a really good one, and I'm excited about that. And got a chance to be on the show with the Voice of Indie Authors next month. Looking forward to that. Kind of, with y'all. Thank you for Rob and Joan for having me on, and I know CJ's been on as well.
Yep.
So I was nervous at first when CJ knows this. Back in the day, I was kind of nervous at first, but I'm kind of getting used to it now. I don't know if that means I'm better or worse, but anyway, it's more enjoyable to me now. So anyway, and we get to see my son this weekend, celebrate his birthday.
Yay. Well, I'm sharing right now the NETWO, Northeast Texas Writers Organization. I'm going to get this out. Let me try this one more time. Northeast Texas Writers Organization Spring Conference is the 29th of April. I will be a guest there, as well as Stone Key and Danny Wayne, both who we've had on our show. So I'm super excited about that. And you can actually attend if you like. There's information on there. Just email netwowriters@gmail.com. That's netwowriters@gmail.com. And that's going to be April 29th from 9 to 3. So super excited about that. I just did the Chautauqua Festival last weekend. That's always fun. There are a few things that Nancy sent a thumbs up. There's a few things that I kind of block off each year, and Chautauqua Festival and Kilgore Geekend are two of them. So I got to do one last weekend, and it's always fun. I love the local events. You get a lot of local color that comes in, a lot of local artists, as well as they had this killer saxophone player, Lodi. I'm like, dude, where have you been all day? You could have just played all day and it would have been fine. He was that good. He was crazy good. Then like I said, we have this April 29th, and then May 6th and 7th, I'll be doing Kilgore Geekend in Kilgore, Texas. So that'll be fun. That's kind of we tell people it's like a street fair and a Comic-Con had a baby. That's Kilgore Geekend. So it's kind of a good eclectic mix. There's cosplay contests, there's artists, authors, other vendors, there's food vendors, there's the snow cone dude. He is awesome. There's little shows here and there, all sorts of fun, and I love doing Kilgore Geekend. And then this weekend, we're celebrating our daughter's birthday. So happy birthday, Casey. So we'll be having that. George is here. George Smukes, who was also on here. He says, I'm here, better late than never. Well, But now we're going to get to our guests, Rob and Joan Carter. How are you guys?
We're great, thanks.
We're doing great.
Awesome. So we'll be talking.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
It's nice to be here instead of being on the other side of the desk, so to speak.
Which will be on the other side tonight. So
there you go. Well, for us, it's fun either way. So tonight, you just mentioned you have a podcast. Could you tell us a little bit about your podcast before we get started?
Yes. Well, it's Meet the Author podcast, and we've been doing it a couple of years now. It's every Wednesday night at 7:00 without fail. Sometimes
Eastern time.
Eastern time, U.S. In the
So
United
6
States.
Central for those who are watching the Central Zone.
Correct.
Yeah, and then we have a global audience, which we're very happy about. Mostly on our audio podcast. After we do the video, we put it over onto the audio, and it goes out on all the major podcast platforms like Spotify and Amazon and iHeartRadio, all of them. And right now we used to be 90% United States listeners on those downloads, but we've shrunk down to 50% United States.
Yeah.
And the rest are places like Australia, New Zealand,
Congratulations.
Bangladesh, Qatar, Saudi Arabia.
The Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
crazy places that
Yeah.
you wouldn't think, but
Yep.
we're very thankful.
Cameroon.
Philippines, Japan. So we're really happy with that. We're I think we've had over 26,000 downloads now in the last 2 years. So
Amazing. Congratulations.
we're
Yeah.
we're getting out there somehow. I don't know how, but
And the best part is getting authors and their books out,
that is
because
the whole reason.
anyone who is an author knows
Yeah.
it's tough to market. And so anything that anybody can do. So thank you for having us on.
Oh,
and
definitely.
letting us market our books.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having both of us on yours too. So
You're welcome. And it was
You're-
a pleasure with
Yes.
both of you, for
Yes.
real. Yeah.
yeah, it's really
We
fun.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the genre mystery.
Yes.
So you guys kind of have a bit of a unique spin on mystery as well, because you also have another thing that you do besides writing. Could we talk about that for like 2 minutes before we jump into the actual mystery portion?
Oh, you mean being paranormal investigators, or?
I think that's South Texas.
South
right?
Texas, he
Mhm.
I think it's supposed to be South Texas. Type of-
Yeah.
South with an X on
Uh-huh. Yeah.
George says in the strangest place of all, South Texas.
it.
Yeah, we're paranormal investigators, and I don't know which is more of a passion, authors or in writing or paranormal investigation. But yeah, we're paranormal investigators. We're part of a team called Tampa Bay Spirits. We go really all over the country and do anybody that needs help here at yeah.
That's what you
Anyone
do.
that can. It
It's-
is cool.
that's cool.
Really, really like it. And we, if anyone needs help, we'll go to their house, and most of all, we want to debunk and
That's how we
tell
start.
you if your house maybe has high EMF because it's not shielded well, your wiring isn't shielded well, it's old or something like that. That can give you delusions and paranoia and actually make you feel nauseated and things like that. So that's the first thing we do when we go in, is we do a baseline EMF reading all over the house to see if anything like that is happening. Maybe there are pipes that need to be attached better, and so they can make knocking sounds in your wall. I mean, they can knock pretty loud and make you think something's going on. And so we try to do that kind of thing. If you're seeing shadow figures, maybe there's somebody driving down your street and their headlights are hitting your house in a funny way and it'll look like a shadow. We just try to debunk everything. Okay. And after we debunk, if there are still things happening, then we get into investigating that.
So you kind of go in, pulling a little X-Files here. You go in as Scully and you go out as Mulder.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You need an even blend of Scully and Mulder, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you
does
really-
any of that blend into your writing?
Well, it is going to be on our next book.
Yeah, it really didn't in
No.
our first series
No.
that we wrote. But then we've been asked to be a part of Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles.
Oh, cool.
We're going to be the first one in 2024 in January.
Congratulations.
Lord willing and the creek don't rise, as George would say. I think that's a Texas saying, isn't it? Maybe. I don't know.
It is.
Right.
Probably is.
Stubborn saying. Let's just put anything south of the Mason-Dixon. You're good to say that.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. But anyway, that is going to actually be based on
Tampa Bay
Tampa Bay
Spirits.
Spirits and and what we do. So the characters in there are going to be actually doing investigations and solving a murder,
Very cool.
possibly.
Well, actually trying to prevent a murder.
Trying to prevent.
Not to give too much away, but
Right.
one of the
think
team
I already
members
have.
has well, one of the team members had a what you would call a premonition or a precognition of someone being in danger. But there's also something going on in a relative's house. So it'll be a fictionalized story.
Mhm.
We're going to use Tampa Bay Spirits, the name of Tampa Bay Spirits, but we'll have two fictional investigators. And but everything that will be in the book will be things that we actually do and things that we've actually experienced.
Yeah.
So
The working title is A Chance of a Ghost.
Oh. So how did y'all catch yourself up on where things were at in the Magnolia Bluff series?
Oh my God. We haven't caught
there's
up yet.
no such thing as catching up on where the Magnolia Bluff series
That's
is.
not possible.
We were
Right.
just describing a house and we went through pages of stuff so that we could get it right.
I have a file folder, and I stopped printing them out
Yeah.
after a while, but not soon enough.
Our
But
Bible.
this thick of pages of all the different characters, all the different
Wow.
places in town, and
Kind of like a reference book now, huh?
But
Yeah.
people have been asking us to do a paranormal mystery or a paranormal book for a long time. And so, this finally gave us the push to do it. And we're really having fun doing it, actually.
Well, I'm excited for it to come out. You said January 2024?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have y'all ever considered doing a nonfiction book based on your paranormal experiences? It sounds like y'all have had some really interesting phenomena that y'all have observed.
Yeah, we have, and
Mhm.
actually we've started writing that one. And it was funny. We were blending it with things that happen with our family because we have 6 children and 14 grandchildren, and we've had some interesting things happen in our lives. Anybody with that many children does, and so we started writing a book about that. But all of the paranormal stuff started bleeding into that book. And then we've also had supernatural stuff happen. And so now we're going to separate that out into 2 books where we would have the family stuff and the supernatural stuff, miracles that have happened in our family and things like that. And then the paranormal stuff, which is in a different niche, in a different little box, and not have them come together. It would have been too long of a book and confusing. So, but yeah, I think we will write a book just about all the paranormal stuff that we've experienced and do it more from a clinical viewpoint.
That'd be cool. So mystery. Your genre mainly for your books are mystery. Can you tell us a little bit about them and, kind of what differs you from other mystery novels?
Okay. Well, we have a trilogy. It's the O'Rourke crime novels. The first one is called Bioprints. Right here. You can see it's got a smoking gun on the cover. Which
Speaking
is
of
rather
cliches, as we were talking about earlier before the show,
where
that was on purpose.
bioprinting comes in, which we did a lot of research on. The main character is Ryan O'Rourke, and he's a fraud insurance investigator.
Think Dennis Stanton on Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah, okay.
And his best friend and protege out in California is murdered mysteriously and sends him a cryptic envelope. And so he goes
And
out
a voicemail.
Very cryptic, and he winds up having to follow the trail and goes through all sorts of stuff. So it's using high tech. At the time, it was very high tech, and what we learned, even as we wrote it, was that they were even at that point with 3D printers. They were making body parts for people that were successfully being used,
That's what bioprinting is.
Right.
Is
And
3D printing of,
so they not only bioprinted a weapon, but they also were bioprinting body parts and black marketing them, and so
Bad guys were.
bad guys were, yeah.
That's
So
not creepy at all.
yeah, not at all. So we're using a blend of, old-fashioned detective work and high-tech
Mhm.
blending those two together.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how they're different.
The second one.
Second one is Flash Zombies. Would you like to talk a little bit about Flash Zombies?
Okay.
Okay,
Flash-
hold on a second. George does have a question. George just wants to know. Okay, so help me out here. What is the difference between supernatural and paranormal?
Well, George, if you look it up in the dictionary, supernatural and paranormal are the same. They're going to tell you that it's the same. In my little head, paranormal is anything that has to do with like UFOs or entities, things that go knock in the night. And the supernatural is anything when I see God intervening in my life or somebody else's life, like you pray for healing and someone is healed, things like that. You pray for comfort when someone...
Things you can't explain.
Things you can't explain.
Logically.
But to me, that's the difference. But actually, if you're going to go to Merriam-Webster dictionary, they're going to be the same.
Well, thank you. Sorry, go ahead. Second book.
Okay.
Back to Flash Zombies, which was almost in
hold on.
progress right there.
Who was that? Nancy Hudgens says, "Wow, bioprinting body parts not creepy at all." I'm with you.
It's very creepy,
Yeah.
and it's being done. People, I mean, back when we did it, they were making veins, the vena cava,
Yeah, blood vessels and veins. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and using them in heart surgery, and they actually, they can now bioprint different parts of the liver and stuff like that. Yeah, it's an interesting medical.
I saw that movie. It didn't end well. Okay.
Okay, so Flash Zombies
Zombie.
is not about zombies, just
No,
to let you know.
It's not about flashing. People
No.
are not flashing.
No, it's a flash mob of zombies that these crooks have decided what a great way to steal high-end jewelry. Have a flash mob of zombies appear, and while everybody's watching you, including the people, then you have someone go in there who's already in there talking about high-end jewelry, and they make off with the jewelry. There's also some mob situation going on there, the mob. And there is also like this punk drug group that's going on. There's two twins who are bad guys, and they are very well-intentioned, not very well-intentioned at all. They're not the brightest criminals on the block.
No, they're brothers. Okay.
They're twins, yeah.
Okay, twins.
So that's Flash Zombies. So there's a lot going on in that book. There's drugs being stolen from hospitals, and they're doing a lot of stuff. Let me say we have an ensemble cast. We have Ryan and his love interest, Siobhan. And then we have Rachel Parks and her love interest, Tony Bocelli. And Rachel is like one of my favorite characters because she loves guns and she knows how to use guns. And if there's ever a chance to use guns, Rachel is like, yay, let's go. I've got my Glock. So yeah, we have an ensemble protagonist.
You described a scene that I just thought I read about in the news in San Francisco, not flash zombies or flash mobs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, snatching. Yeah, just running.
They wrote it first because it's in print.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it was in 2012.
2013.
No, 2013. Yeah, 2013.
Flash
Zombies was 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Promise you.
Yeah, I believe you.
Okay, that's our third one.
And then the third one, and the final one in the trilogy or the series is Clone Drones. Now, this is the old cover. Can we hold up the new cover?
Yeah. We have
the new cover's a little more menacing looking.
Yeah, it looks tougher.
It's brand new.
It does. Okay, so what's that one about?
Okay, so this one is about the bad guys this time have have 3D printed drones, and they're whacking them out at a great rate, and they're weaponizing them. And this was before anyone had done this. Now, this is just a little drone. We're not talking about the drones that our government's been using for years.
Not the military drones.
Not the military drones, just your regular drone that you can buy for a few $1,000s, a good drone that you use to, to film things and stuff. And so they're killing off senators with these drones. They will come up into their house window.
There's gun legislation in the Senate, and they're taking out the Senate subcommittee.
The whole subcommittee.
Members. Yeah.
So we don't know, when you're reading the book, you don't know why they're doing this. And this was back in 2014. So each one of our books has been a little bit ahead of the news.
We're not causing these things.
So would you classify them, besides just as mystery, would you say they sort of drift toward thrillers as well?
Thriller, suspense, yeah. Especially, they kind of grew that way. Clone Drones, I think, is especially that way.
Especially, yeah.
And in Clone Drones, we have another twist there. Toward the beginning, one of the members of Ryan's investigative team gets kidnapped, and by the mob, because the mob's mad because of what happened in Flash Zombies. Because they took down the boss up in Wisconsin.
One of the mob bosses in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So they're out for revenge.
The mob is out for revenge. So they've got them kind of split, trying to solve both things, trying to get their team member back. And
I've talked a lot about this on our show, but in the second book, Flash Zombies, there is a scene that takes place in a what do you call it? Storage unit. Okay. And it's between the mob and one of those punk drug gang members that we were talking about, because they are clashing. And it scared me and we wrote it, and it scared me from going into my own storage unit for the longest time. So
Paul wants to know which of your series is available in audio. Do you have any audio?
Only Clone Drones.
Only Clone Drones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the way that you guys write it is almost like techie meets mystery meets thriller idea. So where do you guys get your ideas? Because obviously you're a little ahead of the time, and people are now catching up to you. But where did you get those ideas?
Isn't that weird? That's so strange, isn't it?
I'm going to take them all off the shelf now.
Right. Well, especially, I have to tell you, especially Clone Drones weaponizing the thing, because about a year and a half after we did that, an 18-year-old in upstate New York did that. Weaponized a drone and used it.
That was the first time we heard of that.
So we were kind of felt like Rod Serling on Twilight Zone with hijacking, because he did the first hijacking as a part of Twilight Zone, and then Peter Cooper actually did it.
If there was someone kind of interested in that style of writing mysteries, what advice would you give them?
Well, there's a lot of research that you have to do.
Yeah, you need to like research. I like doing research. You like research, don't you?
I did like research until I did all that. But no, it's all seriousness.
I honestly don't know where we get our ideas from. We just sit and we just talk about it. And
the characters wrote themselves. So
Oh, for sure. We always get on our show, are you a plotter or a pantser? And we're really pantsers.
Major pantsers.
Yeah. Now, there is...
like poster child for pantser right here.
Now, there is some... You have to keep track of what color hair and how tall they are, and, different things like that, because I forget. So if I don't write that down, if I don't write down what the description is, you're going to find me changing it.
You have to go back and make sure your timeline is correct, all
Yeah,
that.
you have to keep
a list of running list of like the characters and
exactly
describe them at all, or especially when I was doing like the Sands of Time trilogy with the abilities, the gifts. I had to make sure that I remembered which person had which gift. Otherwise,
Which gift? There you go. Yeah, because that gets crazy. But
And going back to the idea of where the ideas came from, I think when we first started Bioprints,
that was your idea.
I was trying to think of something that was cutting edge, you know, that would possibly be something interesting in the future, you know. I remember thinking that way.
Mhm.
And 3D printing has fascinated me. Even when I first started hearing about it, is like, how does that happen?
Right.
It's almost like the TV, you know, how does the picture go on the screen, you know? And now look at us.
Yeah,
know?
now our grandson has a 3D printer.
Our grandson has his
What
own
would you
3D
like
printer.
me
He's
to-
not bioprinting, is he? I mean,
No,
Oh, I don't know.
he's making me flamingo napkin holders.
Yeah. If we ever need any body parts, I guess he could.
So I have a question for y'all, and I bet you've been asked this many times. So you're a writing partnership. How do you do that? Does one do Rob? Do you write a chapter and then Joan writes a chapter? Do one of you write the chapter, the other looks over to make suggestions on changes? How does that work with y'all?
We pretty much talk over the ideas where we want to go at first. Then we just start writing, and we agree together on where we're heading. And,
Yep.
And we just start going with
Bouncing
it.
ideas off of each other.
Yeah, and if one person gets going with it, you know, then we keep going, and then maybe the other person will jump in there and go with a whole bunch of stuff. And sometimes we put the brakes on and say, nah, that just doesn't sound right. And we erase that entire thing, or we push it off to the end, and maybe we'll put it in later, you know.
But we write together.
It's a process.
We sit down together and we write together.
We try to do at least an hour a day.
very
And
cool.
talk the ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So he thought of bioprints. Together we thought of flash zombies.
Mhm.
That's because we liked flash mobs, and
We thought flash mobs and zombies were very popular at the time. So
Mhm.
let's name the company Flash Mob Zombies. Yeah.
flash zombies. And then clone drones, he thought of that one. Again, that was his idea. I guess he's the prophet in the family.
Very cool. You guys have been a treat to talk to. We have just a few minutes left. If there was one gold nugget that you can give to somebody who's listening and kind of considering writing mystery, maybe even a little bit of a techie mystery, what one gold nugget would you give them?
Research.
Yeah.
But honestly, start to write, and
Just start.
don't give up, and don't expect to get rich. Do it because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't expect to get rich.
And enjoy when these get delivered to your house
yeah.
for the first time and you open that box, enjoy the heck out of it.
Because everyone does.
It's great. It's awesome. It's a great feeling, you know.
It is.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys for coming on. You're always a treat to talk to.
Thank you.
Make sure to look them up if you want to learn more about Rob and Joan Carter. They can be found at https://indiebooksource.com. That's INDIEBOOKSOURCE.com. You can also look up at their novels at carternovels.com, CARTERNOVELS.com.
Also, TampaBaySpirits1.com. That's
There
for
you
our paranormal one.
Awesome. Paul Hollis says, excellent podcast. Thanks for sharing. Dana Wayne says, great show. Well,
Thank
stay
you, Dana.
tuned. Next week, we're going to be talking about what's in a name. Because we had mentioned a couple times about our favorite characters and their names. Where do they come from? Why are they important? Are they important? So we'll find out next week at 1:00 at Book World: The Great Escape. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you.